Welcome to a series of podcasts from Uprime. So, what do we have today?
Digital news revenue.
Okay.
About the news revenue, I want to ask you how the regular newspapers, or considering the old school advertising agencies, face the brunt of digital advertising in today's time.
How are they facing the assault of digital media on traditional media? I think the only way they can combat this is by having to open their own digital media outlets. That's the only way they can combat this, because this is not going to go away, and this trend is going to just become more onerous, and it will just increase to a point where print media will be non-existent or will be a very small fraction. So the best strategy forward for all the newspapers in the world would be to be very local. If you're not a local paper, you have to digitize. There's no other way.
And what are the different kinds of revenue that you can come across with a digital agency?
All the newspapers basically make money from the advertisements that they put up, along with the money that comes from philanthropy and individual donations. And there is a new form of revenue that has come up, which is native advertising.
What I was coming to was, how do you adopt something like native advertising, which is like the new source of revenue right now,
Okay.
on a broad scale in India, and how is it going to overcome the existing marketing challenges?
I think the existing marketing challenge for native advertisers is basically expanding the base. Expanding the base would mean the internet penetration to masses. The more the penetration there is, the more the base at which they can expand. The base would mean the target audience. The more the target audience...
So they should be influential companies as such.
Yeah, they have to be at the center of all the action, and they should have access to lots of people so that they get these leads, as it were. And the more leads they have, that will generate stories. The more stories they have, the more they'll be in the limelight, and enough people talk about it, that will generate a social media chatter. In a sense, that will give them visibility. In a sense, that will translate to digital revenue.
And what exactly is the difference between branded content and native advertising?
Branded content, the storytelling aspect of branded content is totally directed towards selling a product. So Nike makes a great ad, and they tell a story about some athlete coming from a village, becoming a superstar on a global scale. At the end of it, there is a Nike logo. So it talks about their journey and how the idea of Nike honoring great athletes has translated them being a standard bearer in sports. That's an example of branded advertising. So native advertising would basically be garb of traditional editorial content generation, wherein a serious editor with significant credibility in the journalistic community will write an article and will talk about how efficiently products and services of some company are helping the populace of that geographical region. So he'll write it in a manner which would always seem editorial. So it's a more of an opinion backed with lots of research, because the research is funded by the company. One other point I wanted to mention was that in terms of digital advertising, more than half of our digital advertising spend has come from mobile platform. That's another trend that we saw in 2015, 2016. So, companies like Facebook, Google, Microsoft, Yahoo, and Twitter make up to 65% of digital revenue in the United States. So that speaks volumes in terms of how dominant these platforms are in terms of generating revenue. That's about it. Thanks for listening to this podcast. I hope you like it. I hope you come back. Thank you.